Today we're talking about something really interesting. Why are businesses leaving Angeles City? And more specifically, the Balibago area, Fields Avenue, and Walking Street. This question caught my attention too. We don't live directly in this area, but we have many subscribers here. Recently, we met one of them, someone who understands the situation quite well, and he shared his perspective on what's happening right now. So let's break it down. First of all, there's the construction. As you know, a major bridge project is currently underway. It's a large international development, and because of that, some buildings are being demolished. Certain areas are being cleared to make space for the bridge infrastructure. On top of that, there are constant road works. Traffic gets worse. Roads are sometimes blocked or dug up. So yes, construction is definitely affecting the area. But honestly, that's not the main issue. The bigger problem is this. There are fewer tourists, prices have gone up, and fewer people are coming. Even during peak season, January and February, when you would normally expect crowds, there were noticeably fewer tourists this year, and that changes everything. People who were planning to open businesses here are now thinking twice. It's simply not as profitable anymore. And even long-established businesses are starting to struggle because there just isn't enough customer flow. Now let's talk about Walking Street, the place many of you know. Right now, its future is uncertain. There have been discussions that after the bridge project is completed and the area is improved, Walking Street could be transformed into something very different, more like regular street with restaurants and cafes. In other words, moving away from the image it has had for decades. You have to understand the Philippines is a religious country with strong Christian values. And the reputation of Angeles City as a destination for nightlife and adult entertainment is something the government may want to change. They don't want the city to be known only for that. So yes, maybe some of it will remain, but the format could change. Bars might become less visible. Street activity could disappear completely. And we already seen signs of that. In many cities across the Philippines, what used to be common years ago is now gone. Before, in different areas, you could see girls openly standing outside, inviting people in. Today, that's mostly prohibited. Even here in Angels, things have changed. On Perimeter Road, for example, girls are no longer allowed to stand freely outside. Everything is pushed inside the bars. And now, even in parts of Balibaga, similar restrictions are being enforced. Freelancers are being moved away from the streets. Security is tighter. Access is more controlled. The idea seems to be simple. Bring people inside bars and keep everything less visible from the outside. But here's the issue. If investors are not sure what the future looks like, they won't invest. If there's a possibility that Walking Street could be completely transformed or restricted even more, then opening a business here becomes a risk. And that's exactly what's happening. Some business owners are already thinking about selling, taking their money out while they still can. Because later, it might be even harder to sell or the value could drop. And on top of all that, we now have rising fuel prices and global economic pressure, which means even fewer tourists in the future. And honestly, it already feels empty. I walked around earlier, this is Friday, around 5 p.m. Normally, this is the time when everything starts getting busy. People go out, girls go to work, the streets come alive. But now, it feels quiet. If you compare it to older videos, even right after COVID, there were more people than today. Now, the streets feel half empty. And step by step, more restrictions are being introduced, less street activity, more control, more uncertainty. So what happens next? No one really knows. We can only guess, but based on what we're hearing from people who follow this situation closely, things may become even more difficult for businesses here, and that could mean more closures in the future.